All right, welcome to the problem string. There's that word. Minutes per mile or minutos por milla. Today we're going to be talking about, it's kind of like if you did the previous one. I don't know where we are. I talked about pace per mile. We can also look at this as a rate. Okay, so the word pace and the word rate are a little bit interchangeable. Okay, so some paces or some rates are going to be faster than others, and some are going to be slower. So your rate connects with ratio, which connects with division, right? All divisions are ratios. All division problems are fractions. All fractions are division problems. All fractions are ratios. And so that's what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be thinking about how much time per hour, minutes per mile. That's our rate that we're going to do. So let's look at problem number 1. If a student ran 4 miles in 36 minutes, how fast was she running? What was her pace per mile or her rate? How long would it take her to run just 1 mile at that pace or rate? And the video is just going to pause for you. Oops. All right, so this problem is 36 divided by 4. You may have already figured it out and know it was 9 just by doing that quick calculation in your head, but let's take a look at it. I have 36 minutes over 4 miles. That's our rate. Okay, our rate is 36 over 4. It is a proportion. It's a ratio. All right, but we want to find out how much 1 mile is. Okay, how do we go from 4 to 1? We divide by 4. We can also divide by 2, but I like dividing by 4 here. Makes sense to me. So we're going to divide this by 4, which means we have to divide 36 by 4, which means we get to 9 up here and 1 down here. So the ratio or the rate is 9 minutes for every 1 mile. So again, if we even looked at this as a fraction, right? 36 fourths. Well, how much is 36 fourths? It's 9. Okay, so that's the rate. And remember, that whole number 9, we could write it as 9 over 1. So everything is connected. All right, let's look at number 2. If a student ran 2 miles in 2 minutes, how fast was he running? What was his pace per mile? All right, so again, we have 22 over 2, so we have 22 minutes. They've gone 2 miles. To get down to 1 mile, I'm dividing by 2. So dividing by 2 up here, which will give us 11. So 11 minutes per 1 mile if they kept the same pace, the same ratio. Let's see what happens. Next, problem number 3. Oops. If a student walked a quarter of a mile in 6 minutes, how fast was she walking per mile? What was her pace per mile? So this is 6 divided by 1/4. All right, so again, we had 6 minutes and they went 1/4 of a mile. So now we're still dividing. This is still 6 divided by 1/4. We're trying to figure out how many fourths are in 6. Okay, 6 minutes. Okay. But how we can look at this is we need to get from 1/4 to 1 so we can figure out what the rate is. Okay? We need to figure out what this rate is. So how do we go from 1/4 to 1? That's right, we multiply by 4. So if I'm multiplying 1/4 by 4 to get to 1, I need to keep the same rate. So I need to do by 4 up there. 6 by 4, so that's going to give me 24 minutes for 1 mile. So this person's rate is 24 minutes in 1 mile. Let's see what the next one is. Problem number 4. If a student walked half a mile in 12 minutes, how fast was he walking? What was his pace per mile? So again, we have 12 minutes. They went half a mile. And we're going to go from half a mile. We're going to go to 1 whole mile. So how do we go from half to 1 whole? Well, we double it, right? We multiply by 2. So we're going to multiply by 2 up here, and we're going to get 24. All right, number 5. If a student walked 2/4 of a mile in 6 minutes, how fast was she walking? What was her pace per mile? I know we're looking at 6 divided by 1/4, but that was 6 minutes, half a mile. So if this was 6 minutes, 1/4 of a mile and went 24 minutes, I bet 6 divided by a half, or going a half mile, 6 minutes probably doubles the pace, right? Probably gets us to 12. But let's take a look. little clue as to what's coming next. So we have 6 minutes, 2/4 of a mile, or quite frankly, a half of a mile. How do I get to 1 whole mile? I double it. So yeah, this is going to be 12 minutes per mile. So like I thought, that was doubled. Oops. Let's compare paces. So let's look at some paces. So looking at your work, who was the fastest? Which student was the fastest? What do you notice? Who was the slowest? Okay. All right, so we have one person's pace is 12 minutes per mile. So let's take a look at some other paces. 24 minutes per mile, so that's twice as slow. 24, so that person was twice as fast as these two. So these two persons' rate is the same pace, the same rate. Up here, man, our very first person was the fastest, right? So they were averaging a 9-minute mile. This person was second fastest, 11-minute mile. And then we have the 12-minute mile of the 6 minutes for 2/4. And then we have these slow pokes coming in at 24 minutes per mile. I think we're going to do one more together. Problem number 6. If a student walked 1/5 of a mile in 8 minutes, how fast was he walking? What was his pace per mile? All right, so that is, I have my 8 minutes, 1/5 of a mile. I has a feeling that they were going super slow. Because like this was 6 minutes for a half. This is 8 minutes for 1/5 of a mile. So I think this is our slow poke, our sloth award. How do we go from 1/5 to 1 whole? We multiply by 5. So that means I have to multiply by 5 up here. That's 40. Whoa! I mean, how do you even go that slow? All right, now it's time for you to try it out on the form. You need to talk about, this was minutes per mile. Talk about the strategy. Talk about how things went. Try the practice problem. Let me know if you have problems. Bye.